Okay, so have you ever been in one of those conversations that just feels like it's going in circles?
Yeah,
Like you're not actually connecting with the other person
totally.
and you're both getting frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, today we're going to dive deep into a book that claims it has cracked the code of why those kinds of conversations happen.
Okay.
It's called Games People Play by Eric Berne,
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
and it introduces us to something called Transactional Analysis, or TA,
TA, okay.
and it gives us a framework for understanding and decoding the psychology behind how we communicate.
I like it. A decoder ring for conversations.
Exactly. So right off the bat, the book dives into these things called ego states,
Okay.
parent, adult, and child. Now, I got to ask,
Yeah.
are we talking literally about, like, little kids and grown-ups here?
Not exactly. Think of them more as like different modes of thinking and behaving
Yeah, right.
that we all kind of slip into, even in the same conversation sometimes.
Mhm.
So like the parent ego state can come across as critical or nurturing, like a judgmental parent or a super supportive one.
Gotcha.
Then you got the child state, which can be, playful and spontaneous, but also, rebellious or whiny.
Okay.
And then the adult state, that's like the grounded and rational part of us. That's where we try to be objective and logical.
Feels like the voice of reason.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely think I can think of a time or two when I've probably slipped into that child ego state,
Oh, for sure.
especially during maybe a heated debate or something.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And, recognizing which ego state we're in ourselves is the first step.
Okay.
But the real interesting part is when we start to see how these ego states interact with each other to
Right.
create these patterns that Berne calls games.
Games.
Yeah.
So, like, are we talking about board games here?
No, no, no. Not Monopoly or anything like that.
Yeah.
In TA, these games are these kind of recurring patterns of behavior
Uh,
where, honestly, a lot of the time, we're not really saying what we actually mean.
oh,
Like, there's this hidden agenda going on underneath
right.
that usually leads to, those arguments or conflict, even if we're not even aware that we're playing the game.
That's kind of unsettling, though, right? So much of how we communicate is, like, unconscious.
It is kind of wild when you think about it.
Yeah.
And that's why understanding these games can be so powerful.
Right.
It's like suddenly you can see the strings behind the puppet show. You see your own behavior and the behavior of other people.
In a whole new way.
Exactly, yeah.
So, okay, I'm really curious now. How do these ego states actually show up in these games? Can you give us, like, some specific examples?
Totally. So one really common game is called Why Don't You Yes But?
Okay.
And like, imagine you're trying to help someone make a decision and you offer them suggestions, but they just shoot down every single one.
Oh, yeah.
So like their child ego state might be looking for attention or reassurance.
Right.
While you're stuck in your adult state, like trying to solve the problem. Oh my gosh, my friend does this all the time when we're trying to plan a trip. Where should we go? Oh, not there. Oh, how about this? No, not that.
Exactly.
It's just an endless cycle.
Yeah.
But honestly, now that I know it's a game,
Yeah.
it makes it a little bit less frustrating to deal with.
Totally. Awareness is key.
Yes.
All right. Another game you'll probably recognize is If It Weren't For You.
Oh, okay.
And this is where somebody blames all of their problems or unhappiness on outside factors or other people.
Yeah.
It's a way to avoid taking responsibility.
Right.
And it keeps them stuck in that child ego state.
Like the victim role.
Exactly. Yep. And then you've got a game that's a bit more aggressive. It's called Now I've Got You, You Son of a Bee.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this one is all about setting traps to catch somebody doing something wrong
Uh-huh.
so they can justify anger or punishment. It's a power play.
Gotcha.
And it can really damage relationships. Yeah. Okay. So these games, they sound frustrating, but are they really that big of a deal? Like, what's the harm?
Oh, they can be a huge deal because all of this miscommunication and these mind games, they lead to resentment, they stall relationships, they prevent us from really connecting with each other.
Okay.
But the good news is,
Yeah.
when we recognize these games, we can actually choose to step back and respond differently.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Break free from the cycle.
Exactly.
So how do we actually do that? How do we stop playing these games?
Well, one of the most important things is to try to shift into that adult ego state.
Right.
It's about communicating in a clear, honest, and solution-oriented way.
So not just reacting emotionally.
Exactly. Responding thoughtfully.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, that sounds way easier said than done,
Oh, for sure.
especially when we're so used to just reacting automatically.
It takes time, but you got to start with awareness.
Okay.
Pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to your patterns. When you feel yourself slipping into one of these games, just pause for a second and ask yourself, what am I really trying to achieve here? What ego state am I in?
So recognizing the game is the first step to changing the game.
Exactly.
Wow. So we covered a lot today. We talked about these ego states.
Yeah.
We explored some of these really common games.
Hmm.
And we learned that awareness is key to breaking free from these frustrating cycles, these communication breakdowns that we all experience.
Absolutely. Next time you're feeling stuck in a conversation, remember, ask yourself, what ego state are you in and are you playing a game?
Yeah, that simple awareness can make a huge difference in how we communicate and how we connect with other people. It's like a whole new perspective on our relationships.
Totally.
Awesome. Well, that's it for our deep dive into games people play.
Great stuff.
So go out there and observe your own interactions. You might be surprised at what you discover.
Have fun with it.
All right. See you next time.